welcome to Ultimate Brains. I'm your host Fiona, and today it's all about how to start wildlife photography with Roy Briggs. Hi Roy.
Hi Fiona.
And a little help from Brains.
Hi Fiona, hello, very nice to meet you.
I've seen your photographs, Roy. They're absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
On calendar quite frequently. How do you start in photography? What sort of equipment do you need?
Well, with mobile phones being so good now, that's the way to start, and you'll soon find out whether it's something for you or not.
Yeah.
And if so, then people then generally progress on to buying, the first SLR cameras and take it from there. I mean, I've only started being serious in wildlife photography back in 2018. Just started off with a basic Canon camera, standard lens, and then up to a 300 mil for a while. And then about a couple of years ago, I treated myself to this fantastic Sigma lens, which is 150 to 600 zoom. It's a bit hefty, it's a bit heavy.
Yeah.
So I call it my baby because I carry it.
It does look
Just
really
feel
heavy.
that.
How on earth can you hold that still?
Well, for about 5.5 miles, and then I might need a kiss of life. So if you're around at that time,
That could be an interesting trip out, couldn't it? So because it is very heavy, do you have a tripod for this then?
No, I never ever use a tripod.
So it's got I don't know really the first thing about cameras, but it's got a really super duper long lens on it. Does that mean you're looking at things way in the distance?
Yeah, but I use it for anything. I use it for close-ups of dragonflies, even though I can't get less than 10 yards. If I get less than 10 yards away, I'm not going to be in focus. But it's such a good camera, the zoom lens. It gets good enough close-ups of butterflies, small insects, dragonflies, damselflies, for me.
So it actually does in the distance and close-up. So do you have that on automatic zoom?
I only use auto. I only use this lens 90% of the time. Occasionally, if I want a scenic shot, a real good big landscape shot, I carry a standard lens in my rucksack. I just swap the lens, do the landscape shots or whatever it is, and then back to this. But generally speaking, that's the only lens I use.
Wow.
For 90% of the time. There are macro lenses that you can buy, which are fantastic for real detailed close-up work.
So when you see the zoomed in, it's the macro lens they use?
More than likely, yes. Yeah. When they'll just show you a head of a small damselfly and all the intricate, sort of pattern work.
Fascinating as well, isn't it?
That is, but that doesn't appeal to me.
No.
Particularly. I just love to see the creature as it is in its natural habitat, and that's how we normally see them. But the macro gives you a really close insight into the makeup of the creature.
That's brilliant for people thinking of starting. What time I've seen your work so many times, and you get so much following for it, because I think people really look forward to seeing what photographs you produce today. You post them in our local channels, don't you? And also on our local news station, we see them quite frequently. What time of day do you go out?
It varies. Until recently, I couldn't get out at the magical times of dusk and dawn for wildlife because I was caring for my wife who has passed away recently. So now I can get up at the crack and be out there at the crack of dawn.
So
and I have done it a few times, but not every day by any means.
Bless you.
But you can get some fantastic shots. But sometimes, you can walk around either a reserve or a woodland or wherever, and you're disappointed. You don't see much. Then go back at lunchtime and sunlight, and you come across you know,
Yeah.
a herd of wild deer, red deer.
Is it just chance, do you
There's
think?
a lot of hit and miss. The main idea of setting up the photography side was mainly, I just wanted to, because I was caring for my wife and I got a certain amount of what they call respite time, a few
Yes.
hours a day,
Yeah.
I just knew I had to keep myself fit.
Yeah.
To be a carer for somebody, you've got to be 100%.
Yes.
So I needed the exercise and the fresh air. That was the main thing.
But the
Getting a walk,
relaxation as
which
well,
is why I
isn't
don't
it?
go in hides, because
Yeah.
I'm not getting the exercise. Sorry.
But also the relaxation time, I can only presume, because I've dabbled in painting, when you're absorbed in taking that photograph, you forget everything else, because there's just you and that creature, that animal, that butterfly,
Correct.
that bird.
You've hit the nail on the head, Fiona. As soon as I'm in that environment where I can hear the
Yeah.
birds
Yeah.
and spot wildlife, etc., I'm in a different world, and I'm concentrating, because since I've taken up photography seriously, I am concentrating on trying to get the best pictures I can.
Yeah. And you do.
So thank you.
I think there's too many people now don't take that time out. There's too many people that are in the hamster wheels constantly. They don't actually look out the door and take time to appreciate what's around us, because it's magical, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you capture that magic and you bring
try.
that magic to people that aren't actually possibly getting out the door.
Yeah. When I post on the local community sites, I often get a fantastic kick from seeing some of the comments, which is people who now loved going walking in the woodlands, etc., love nature, but for some reason or other, health-wise, they cannot get out themselves. So they are so grateful that I'm bringing what's on our doorstep, and we are so lucky in this area.
We really are. Yeah.
And that is
Priceless.
the absolute icing on the cake for me.
Priceless.
To be making somebody else's day from enjoying it so much myself.
Yeah.
You know.
So say I see a bird in a tree in a distance. How do you get anywhere near it? How do you even start?
If it's within the capability of the zoom lens, I will take pictures there and then, so I've got something.
Yeah.
And then I take a few steps forward and start again.
That must be quite nerve-wracking.
It's not nerve-wracking.
How many steps can I take before it flies away?
Yeah. I'd rather have a long distance shot of a blue tit that is reasonably sharp than no blue tit at all.
Absolutely.
Even if it's, if I take a few more steps and it goes, then so be it. But at least I've got a picture. That's where, and it's the same with even big animals. If I can
get at least
see them in the distance, I take my pictures first before I try and get any closer. Sometimes it works, most times it doesn't, and you only get long range. You've
recently had the most beautiful photograph, and I can honestly say I'd never even seen one before. Is it a Mandarin duck?
That's correct, yes. It's an exotic Mandarin male duck.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the females are nowhere near as
the males are always prettier, aren't they?
Just walking around Crawlston Lakes Country Park, and with a group of mallards was this colourful bird, which
I'll show a picture of it. It was absolutely stunning, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Can I just ask Brain, how many species of birds are there in the UK?
Thinking. The latest checklist of birds of Britain, and includes all species, is 628 as of the 14th of June 2022, recorded in a wild or apparently wild state in Britain, as recognised by the British Ornithologists' Union.
That's amazing.
It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? You must, because you have this ability to capture the animals, you, like the Mandarin duck, you must think, wow, I've never even seen one of them before. That must give you such a buzz.
Absolutely. It is the most colourful duck in the world, the male Mandarin.
It's stunning.
And you just don't expect to see it in our locality. And to be, find one on our doorstep was an unbelievable experience.
Quite a nice thought as well, to think that our everyday ducks had took it into their family and It's quite,
Yeah, indeed.
it's quite a lovely thought, isn't it?
Yeah, there were no squabbles or anything.
No,
like that.
I think that's really, really
In fact, the
nice.
female mallards, I think, were sort of tending to think,
Yeah, I like the look of this one. You've done butterflies, insects before. What's your favourite to take photographs of?
in the insect world,
Yeah.
dragonflies.
Yeah.
Dragonflies.
Beautiful,
And
aren't
damselflies.
they? Yeah.
But particularly dragonflies. And, they're such exquisite creatures. The patterns on the body and on the wings and...
There's a lot of people relate to dragonflies in particular, isn't there? When our dog that we'd had for 15 years passed, I took the courage to compose myself a couple of days later, went out for a walk, and the dragonfly landed on my shoulder and
Really?
just
Yeah.
carried on sitting there.
Yeah.
And because I'm very in tune with animals, to me it was almost like my dog had come and said,
I can
"I'm
understand
here."
that. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
There's certain moments in your life that actually really get you. And that even thinking about now really gets me. There's a lot of people like that with dragonflies. There's something very special about them, isn't there?
Absolutely. Talking of which, I was once at Barton-on-Humber at the Water's Edge Reserve there, and I was trying to photograph four-spotted chaser dragonfly on a reed bed, and while I'm trying to focus on that, another dragonfly actually landed on the camera lens.
Wow.
And so with one hand holding the camera, I'm able to get my mobile out and take a picture.
way.
And I got a picture of the dragonfly on
Wow.
the end of the lens.
That's amazing.
I mean, you couldn't make it up, but
No, you really could. It's almost like certain people have such empathy with animals, and I believe
Possibly.
you must be one of these people. They seem to know when you love them, don't they? And it's almost like they grace you with their presence. I feel like that. We're lucky enough where we live that we have deer around, and just when one walks near you, it's like they've given you that permission. Do you feel that way?
yes, I do, very much so. I mean, just going back to my school days, I didn't know what to do at the age of 13 for a career, and I had to choose a career when I passed to go to technical college. My father was a steel worker, so I plumped for engineering, and I hated it the first 12 months. But thankfully, a blackbird landed in our porch one stormy winter's night and settled on the window ledge above the doorway, and we could see it through the stained glass from inside. We could see it huddled there to shelter, and then within a couple of months in springtime he came back again with a mate, female, and trying to build a nest on the ledge. And all the houses on the estate where we live were the same, with this outer porch in front of the front door, and yet the blackbird chose...
Of all the houses it could have picked.
Correct. And that changed my life, because a journalist and a photographer came to take pictures of it, because it was an unusual nesting site. I knew then, instantly, that's what I wanted to be, a journalist. I would never, ever have thought about it. So I changed.
It was like the blackbird planted the seed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so the blackbird transformed my life, because I changed over to a commercial course and started on the Sheffield, the same paper, as a trainee junior.
Wow, the power of animals.
Indeed.
You've recently taken some photographs of hares. We don't even see that many hares. How do you find
a fair
them?
amount in the Isle of Axholme.
Yeah.
Certainly. Better early than late.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on a sunny day, warm sunny day, I've spotted them in fields quite close by. I managed to get some reasonably close-ups with the hedgerow in front. When they're soaking up the sunshine, unless you do disturb them, you can get some fantastic pictures. So the diversity of wildlife that we have on our doorstep is incredible. From such as the smallest UK dragonfly, which is the black darter, right up to the UK's largest mammal, the red deer and stags.
Have you always had that interest?
No, I've always been interested in nature
Yeah.
and wildlife, but not from a photographic angle until recently.
Yeah.
So I need to know, especially when I'm posting pictures, what they are to be able to tell other people.
Yeah.
So I just armed myself with reference books,
Yeah.
and I still occasionally have to refer to them.
Do you wear deliberately like camouflage clothes to get near them? Because I presume if you're wearing a bright red coat, you're not going to get anywhere near that animal.
That's true. Yeah, I don't wear. I mean, some of my fellow photographers, they really have the camouflage outfits, and including the cap. But I just have a dark green all-weather winter coat, which is warm. It's fleece inside. I find that's good enough. I wear either brown or green trousers.
I have seen before, you've had some, and it's my favourite of favourite animals, some beautiful deer photographs. Is that just luck that they seem to come in your path, or how? Do you sit there for hours?
I don't sit there for hours because, as I said, the whole point of it is the exercise. And even though I'm on my own now, at my age, I need to keep fit.
Yeah.
It's the old story, use it or lose it.
Absolutely.
So I still do at least 2 miles, but generally speaking, it's anything between 3 and 5.
That's fab.
I can still climb over a 5-bar gate if I need to.
Brilliant.
I can still jump a stream if I need to.
Brilliant.
So while I've got that ability, I make
Keep using
best use of it, yeah.
How does it make you feel when you, like you say, if you're walking along, I presume you go at quite a slow pace in case something. How does it make you feel when you see that stag in front of you?
Oh, it's just magical. The adrenaline pumps away. I mean, I'll just give you one instance where I was in a clearing in woodland, and I was actually looking to see, it had rained the previous night, and I was hoping to see a barn owl because if it's wet, they can't hunt. So that's when you can sometimes see them during the day hunting if they're not being able to at night. And that was my priority. And then all of a sudden, from the other side of this open clearing, a stag emerged, and he's just ambling along, just on his own. I'm the other side of the clearing. It was as big as a big field. And gradually, he's just working his way towards me. I mean, I'd got trees behind me. And so, I froze to the spot. And I started taking the pictures when I first saw him.
Yeah.
But all the time, he's getting closer and closer. Gradually, it must have, the whole episode took about 20 minutes, I would think. And I don't know how, on that occasion, I did keep my hands steady because you do need...
no idea how you did.
You do need a sharp eye and a steady hand. But gradually, he came closer and closer. And the best picture I got was one where it was a sunny day. It was about midday by this time. And his antlers, I got the reflection, the shadow of his antlers on his back.
Wow.
Just the angle that he was.
Hopefully
with the
we'll be
sun.
able to show this picture.
And I've got that photograph still. And that, to me, was one of the best stuff. And he got within probably 12 yards.
Did he see you?
And then he sensed me.
Ah.
He didn't see me because I was just part of the tree background, wasn't I? I mean, that's why I call myself, I'm another tree. There was no wind blowing, thankfully, because obviously they are so wild. They can sense a human being if the wind's in the right direction from 100 yards away.
So there's a lot of luck involved.
Yeah, it was a calm day, and he got within about 11 yards, and then his nose went up, head went up, and he got me, and he just veered away to the side and into cover. Wow. And that was one of the most magical experiences.
That to me would be the dream moment, but I know what I'm like. I get so excited with animals. The adrenaline takes over, and I can't keep my hands still because I'm so excited. And then you've got that thing where actually I want to enjoy the moment, or do I take a photograph? I want to enjoy the moment, do I take the photograph?
My objective is to be able to share what I'm seeing for people who can't necessarily get there and see it for themselves. That is because I get a real kick out of that.
Yeah.
So I am concentrating. I don't really sometimes I don't realise what I've got because, I mean, you're just firing away.
Yeah.
Recently, I got a wren and it was just going to fly away and its wings went up. And it's a wonderful sight when the wings are spread out.
Yeah.
Now, I only got that shot because I'm clicking away because it's a wren. I'm just firing while it's there before it goes. And I don't know it's going to suddenly fly off. So I'm lucky in the fact that I just get a shot. It's a fluke shot. That's what I call it.
Oh, it's not.
But when people see it, the finished product, when I post them, and I get all sorts of comments, what a cracking shot.
Yeah.
Well done, Roy.
Yeah.
To me, I just think, well, I was just lucky.
So you're bringing so much joy to so many people, though. Other than the Mandarin duck, have you done any other rare animals? If we just ask Brains, what are some rare animals in the UK?
Thinking. Here's a list of some of the rarest animals in the UK. A Scottish wildcat, natterjack toad, red squirrel, pine marten, water vole, and a pearl-bordered fritillary butterfly.
What's the rarest you've found, or have you ever taken any photographs other than the Mandarin duck?
Only recently, I got my first ever shot, good shot, of a water vole.
Wow.
And they are in short supply in this country now. They've dwindled by nearly 90,000, I think it is, in the last 10, 12 years. A few years ago, when I was still learning the ropes, I managed to get a picture of what I thought was a sparrowhawk on an overhead power cable. And I got almost underneath it, taking shots, still thinking it's a sparrowhawk.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a car came by and it then took off.
Yeah.
So I posted it and I said in the post, I'm not sure, but I think it's a sparrowhawk. And Stephen Abbott, who's a friend and fellow photographer, texted me and said, Roy, you've got a merlin. He said, I've been after merlins for years and never got one. And that is the smallest falcon that we have in this country.
Yeah.
And I got some fabulous shots against the blue sky backcloth.
Yeah.
And didn't realise that I got such a rarity for this area.
Yeah. During this interview, we'll post some of these photographs we've talked about. And I know you say you post them in our local groups.
Yes.
What else do you do with that? Have seen them on calendar. How do you go about getting them onto calendar and things?
Yes, I've been doing them for Yorkshire Television Calendar News Programme for the weather. I had 3 on this last week.
Wow.
I think I just went onto their website and it did give you an email address that you could
But now I presume you have a fast pass, don't you? And they're like, oh, Roy sent us another amazing one.
I still do it the same way.
It's brilliant. Is there any special settings people could put their camera on that you know of? Or do, like you say...
Auto. It's the easiest, and it's to me, I mean, I can only go on the results I get, and I have no complaints about auto.
Because like you say, if you're busy trying to focus your camera, that moment may have passed, mightn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So people pretty much could start with their phone, couldn't they? With an auto zoom focus.
Yes.
And it's time and patience, from what you've said, more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, there are several attributes you need for photography. You need a steady hand, you need a sharp eye, but you also need, I always tell people, for wildlife photography anyway, you need the 3 Ps, which is passion, patience, and perseverance.
Yes.
And if you've got those 3, you stand a chance.
Yeah. Can we just ask, what was the most expensive wildlife photograph sold?
Thinking. The most expensive wildlife photograph ever sold is Rhinos in Love by renowned wildlife photographer Nick Brandt. It sold for $75,000, which is about £60,000 at a Christie's auction in 2018.
Wow.
This striking black and white photograph captures 2 endangered black rhinos touching horns.
You have been very careful not to say exactly where you go to take your photographs. Because unfortunately, this information can fall in the wrong hands sometimes.
It can, unfortunately. Yeah, I never ever disclose the location of animals such as the deer, foxes, badgers, etc. Because there are marksmen, shooters, poachers, etc., who delight in coming and killing one. And hares. I include hares in that.
Absolutely tragic.
Just for the sake of trophy hunting, for example, to take the antlers.
Honestly, I am a massive animal lover. I don't get it at all. I don't see how something can grace you with its presence and then you can do something so brutal. I really don't get it.
Exactly. They're there to be appreciated, and we are so fortunate. The priority, whenever I'm out taking pictures of wildlife, is the protection and the non-disturbance of that creature, whether it's a bird, a mammal, or a lizard, snake.
I presume you learn your own routes, don't you, to go? You'll go out on a walk and you'll think, I presume these animals will appear frequently in similar places. So that's something that you've learned from your experience.
Correct.
So for people starting this kind of thing, maybe just go for a walk in the country, see what you find.
Yes.
Take some, and your advice would be take that photograph before it's gone. It's better to have a photograph than no photograph.
Rather than try and get too close and then you've lost it. Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely to have you on here, Roy. I've wanted to know more for a long time about your beautiful photographs.
My pleasure.
We'll talk again and get to know a bit more about Roy. But until then, thank you, Roy.
My pleasure.
Goodbye, looking forward to seeing you again.